Hello. All right, so in this video, I'm going to give you a tutorial on the online textbook, how to access it, and then how it's going to work when you're actually in the program, and yeah, so I'll explain it all in a minute. The one thing that I'm not really going to be able to show you is exactly what it's going to look like when you go to log in for the first time and set up your account. So before we begin, the first thing I'll explain is that you should read all about this in the course syllabus, which is right here. I'm in Canvas and I'm under syllabus right now, and right after the section on office hours and withdrawal date, there's a bunch of information on the required textbook. So I recommend that you read that so you have some basic idea what I'm talking about here. The idea is that if you are paying for the textbook out of pocket with your own money, then you want to not go to the bookstore to buy the book. You want to actually just go online following the directions that I show you. If you are using a bookstore credit through financial aid, your only option to use that bookstore credit is to go to the actual bookstore. You will buy an actual hard copy of the book using this ISBN number, and in the back of the book there'll be a code for you to access the online text. Now, the most important thing for me to explain to you right now is that you cannot get any of the credit for the textbook readings unless you have that online access. So this is not a course where you can find the book used to do readings. All of the points that you'll accumulate by doing the readings will be done in the McGraw-Hill Connect website, and I'll show that to you now. So basically, I'm going to click on Modules. And the way I have the modules arranged, at the very top, I have a section for McGraw-Hill Connect. The overview here is basically just what you just saw in the syllabus. It's just a copy of that text. Eventually I'll upload this video here. And so anytime you want to go to the textbook, or when you go for the first time to either purchase the text or use your code from the book that you bought in the bookstore, you can click here on this MH Campus link. But also, as we scroll down through the different modules, when you see a reading, Chapter 1, Chapter 19, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, those will also have links within the assignment that will take you to McGraw-Hill as well. But they all go to the same place, so you can basically click here. And then it's going to say that you're launching insecure content, load in a new window. Just keep clicking through. And then here I am at mhcampus.com. So what you're going to see first is this picture of the actual textbook, and you're going to click on Connect. Now, when I click on Connect, it's going to take me right into my course page, the back-end instructor sort of format. When you click on this for the first time, it's going to take you to the registration page, and on that page, it's not too hard to understand, but you'll see instructions for how to either register your code or buy a new code to access it. The first thing that it's going to ask you to do is enter your email address as if you already have an account. So bear with me while I explain this. It's not exactly intuitive. You're basically thinking, well, I don't have an account, so how can I enter my email address? Just enter in your CCP email, and then what it's going to do when you hit enter, it's going to say you don't have an account. Well, you knew that. And then there's going to be a button that you can push that says create new account. All right, so after you click this button, it's going to take you to a page where it tells you to enter your email address for your account. You're going to enter it, and then you'll have the option of creating a new account. All right, so hopefully that doesn't slow people down too much. All right, well, I'm going to go in, and like I said, it's going to take me right into my teacher portal. Yours will look something like this, not exactly, but you'll be able to see all of the reading assignments as well as the quizzes. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4 quizzes, and then the final exam. All right, so let me explain this first. You're going to go through the chapters one by one in the order that they are here, based on the due date. When you finish, and you can see this back in modules, if you go back to the course page. All right, there we go. And if I go back to modules, you can see here in module 1, chapter 19, and then, but in module 2, chapter 3, and then you get your first quiz that's based on those 2 chapters. And then module 3 quiz is based on chapters 4, 5, and 6. All right, so that's how they like kind of line up. There's also the final exam, which is open all semester from day 1. So the idea is that as you chip away at the chapters, you can then go and open up the final exam and start working on that. The final exam is open book. You can take it as many times as you want. You can go back and you can edit your answers. This is not meant to be a high stakes exam that makes it hard for you to get a good grade. Quite the opposite. It's just meant as a learning tool. It's a way of reinforcing what it is that you're reading. And then as long as I have you do that, you can get up to 130 points towards your final grade. All right, so it's very straightforward. The quizzes you can take twice, and you can use the textbook as a resource, but they're a little bit more like what you normally would expect quizzes, whereas the final exam is much more open. You can take as much time as you want to do it, take it as many times as you want, like I said. All right, so then this is what's going to happen. I'll click on a chapter as if I'm going to read it. Now when you do that, it's going to take you right into the textbook. I have to go into preview and preview it as if I'm a student. All right, so it's loading the textbook now. And there's a tutorial that you can take the first time you load the textbook. I recommend you doing that, but I'll show you some things as well. Just give me a second here to set it up. All right, for some reason it's starting me off, I guess because I was previewing the chapter earlier this morning. But so basically the things you want to be aware of up here is how you get into the table of contents. Click on those little 3 lines. Don't worry about reports, that's more for me. And then leave SmartBook is how you save any of your work and exit. So once you start answering questions that go along with the reading, make sure that if you leave your computer, you always leave SmartBook. Otherwise, your work might not be saved. And I'll explain more about that in a minute. So I'm going to close that up. Clicked here on the first page, so Communication of First Look. It's the first page of the textbook. I'm now going to close that up as well. So now I just see the text. And down here, you can see it's a little bit cut off, but this will toggle off highlighting. But you want to leave the highlighting on the textbook. And the reason is because, here, wait, I really do want to fix this here. It's too late. Got to slide that down a little bit. All right, so go back to page 1. Hold on a sec. All right, so here we are, page 1. And the idea is that you're going to scan the textbook by following the highlighted sections that have been highlighted for you. So I'm going to click on this kind of double arrow here that says go to the next topic. And it takes me to page 4 of the text, which is where the first highlighted area is. So I'm going to read that definition of communication. That's it on that page. Go down to the next topic. Here I get some more highlighted ones. So literally just kind of scanning for the most important information. Read those ones. All right, just click to the next topic, read some more, read some more. All right, so you're going to go through the entire chapter just reading the highlighted sections like that. Okay, and then after a little while, this person's going to pop up and they're going to ask you if you want to start practice. And practice is basically the way I use it in this class. It's going to be how you get the points for doing the readings. So I'm going to pull that up manually. You can always click. You don't have to wait for the person to tell you to start answering questions. You can click on practice anytime you want. All right, now this is important. So you have 40 questions total for this chapter. And that's going to count down as you answer questions correctly. All right, so which of the following are characteristics of communication? Check all that apply. It relies on a single channel. It has relational implications. It is affected by the perceptions of the participants. it has literal meanings. I'm going to say it definitely has more than one channel. It has relational implications. It's affected by perception. Communication has literal meanings. I really don't know what that means, but I'm going to check that, and I'm going to say I think so. All right, well, that one, I wasn't really sure what they meant by that. So these two were the correct answers. So then I hit OK. All right, notice because I got that answer wrong, I still have 40 questions left. They're going to feed me that question again before the end of this process. Environments that incorporate multiple communication channels at once are called virtual channel environments, channel lean contexts, channel rich contexts. I'm going to say channel rich contexts. I know it. And that was correct. So when I hit OK, you see it drop down to 39. All right, so you're going to go through all of these 40 questions. You can go back and forth. If I start doing these questions and I get to a point where the questions don't make sense, I go back and I can just pick up right where I left off, keep reading, and basically I'm going to toggle back and forth between the questions and the reading until I answer all the questions. All right, now I'm going to go back to the questions. The other thing that you can do, match each need on the left with the phrase that best describes that need on the right. Physical need, relational need. All right, so I'm starting to answer these questions, but let's say I'm just not sure about the other ones. I can click down here on read about this, and it takes me to that section of the textbook. It's not going to necessarily give me the exact, sentence, but it's going to take me to the general section. All right, and then if I click on here, it's going to take me back to the question. I can finish answering it. All right, I'm just going to say no idea here just to get out of it. It shows me, I guess it shows me which ones I got right, but basically keep going. All right, true or false, communication includes writing, of course. I know it. And I'm down to 38. All right, so that's basically in a nutshell how you're going to do all the chapter readings. One thing that I'll mention is that if you, on some chapters, you're going to go through the highlighted sections, you might get all the way to the end of the chapter before you're prompted to answer questions. The idea then, though, is that you're not really done at that point. If you get to the end of the chapter with these highlights, you're going to go back to the very beginning. It's going to take you back there automatically, and it's going to now give you deeper highlights. So there, on some chapters, you might actually be guided through the chapter more than once, and each time you go through it, it's going to give you deeper and deeper information. But again, everything's going to correlate back to those practice sessions. All right, so every one of the chapters that we read is worth 20 points. Doesn't matter how many questions you have to answer, they're always going to add up to 20 points as far as that being what the assignment is worth and how that affects your grade. All right, so then let's say that it's 10 o'clock at night and this assignment is due in 2 hours at midnight or 11:59. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to come back and finish it, but I got to run and go do something. All right, I'm going to make sure that I hit Leave SmartBook. So if for some reason I don't come back before midnight, I will still get the points that I accumulated so far. All right, but if I go back into the chapter, it'll just pick me up right where I left off, and I can try to get the entire thing done. So make sure you leave SmartBook if you want to make sure that you get all the points that you've earned. If you begin a chapter and you're in the middle of doing it or even close to the end, and the due date arrives 11:59 on the day it's due, if you have not hit Leave SmartBook to that point, you'll lose all of the points you accumulated. It's the one part of this course where the due dates are absolutely set in stone. I don't give new due dates. I don't extend the due dates. And basically the idea is that if you miss 1 or 2 readings, it's completely understandable. It's not going to have a negative impact on your grade to miss a couple of the reading assignments. But if there's a pattern of it, it will definitely affect your grade. So don't worry about it if you miss a due date once or twice. Don't even ask for an extension because I'm not going to give it. That just creates a huge headache. All right, so that's it for the textbook, and I will talk to you soon.